Positions of power are possessed by people all throughout the world, and the nature of these positions and their influence over society vary immensely. Political leaders, for example, wield significant authority, making decisions that can profoundly impact social structures and people's lives. Power can also be attained through fame and commercial status. Being known and celebrated by large groups of people gives a person a platform where they can speak their mind, expressing their opinions, knowing that they will be heard and perhaps agreed upon by those who idolize them, thus enabling an influence over change. The theme can be explored in a far broader sense within fictional media, often through superheroes and villains, who possess power in a physical and metaphorical sense of the term. In all of these scenarios, positions of power can influence a person into justifying their own flawed nature, covering it up and hiding behind fake ideologies. The Social Network is a 2010 biopic depicting the rise of Facebook as a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Power is explored through Mark Zuckerberg, the main creator of Facebook, and the focal point of the narrative. From the beginning, he's presented as this socially awkward, temperamental individual. The opening scene shows him arguing with his then-girlfriend Erica, as he repeatedly degrades her, bragging about his own accomplishments instead. The scene ends with her breaking up with him, exemplifying his unlikable, flawed traits to the audience.
You're gonna go through life thinking that girls don't like you because you're a nerd. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that that won't be true. It'll be because you're an asshole.
During Facebook's inception, he is hyper-fixated on the website, but still allows input from others. He works alongside Eduardo Saverin, his friend and the company's co-founder. Their friendship and Mark's willingness to work with other people seemingly displays a sense of humanity in his character, implying that he may improve upon his flaws. This, however, rapidly changes as the company expands. Zuckerberg befriends Sean Parker, the founder of Napster, who invests in the company. Parker's enabling attitude fuels Zuckerberg's ego as he becomes more and more occupied with his own creation, eventually cutting Saverin out of the company entirely. He wants control, and to be hailed as the true mastermind behind Facebook. His genius, while propelling him into success, also acts as a shield, allowing him to be controlling, narcissistic, and manipulative without repercussions. The Social Network offers a rare insight into Zuckerberg's true character, depicting him as intelligent yet deeply flawed as a person. Despite this, his reputation remains largely unaffected, demonstrating how Zuckerberg has been able to use power to justify his own problematic nature, both to himself and in the eyes of society.
Doctor, if you know all of this, why can't you change it?
Because you die on Mars. You die today.
Doctor Who is one of the longest-running science fiction programs of all time. It follows the Doctor, an immortal alien who appears human. He possesses the ability to travel anywhere in space and time through a machine called the TARDIS. This allows him an inconceivable amount of power over the universe. Despite this, he rarely gets carried away, maintaining a specific set of morals, rarely interfering with history. The 2009 episode The Waters of Mars explores a narrative where the Doctor goes against his own principles, choosing to save a group of people aboard a spacecraft destined to die in 2059. Their deaths are crucial to future developments, with Adelaide Brooke, the ship's captain, being celebrated for her sacrifice, leaving a lasting impact on the world of science and space travel. Throughout the episode, the Doctor has a back-and-forth debate with himself on whether he should or shouldn't intervene. He eventually decides that he'll return them to Earth without fully considering the consequences. We see a far darker side of his character as he refers to himself as the Time Lord Victorious, stating that the laws of time should obey him. It's the final scene that puts the episode's story into perspective. He returns Adelaide Brooke to her home. Adelaide questions the Doctor's logic, telling him that he shouldn't have the amount of power he has. The Doctor at this point has created a false narrative, justifying his decision as selfless but failing to see the impact of what he's done.
My granddaughter, the person she's supposed to become, might never exist now.
Nah, Captain Adelaide can inspire her face to face. Different details, but the story's the same.
You can't know that. And if my family changes, the whole of history could change. The future of the human race. No one should have that much power.
Tough.
You should have left us there.
Adelaide, I've done this sort of thing before. In small ways, say some little people. But never someone as important as you. Oh, I'm good.
Little people? What, like Mia and Yuri? Who decides they're so unimportant? You?
For a long time now, I thought I was just a survivor, but I'm not. I'm the winner. That's who I am. The Time Lord victorious.
And there's no one to stop you.
No.
This is wrong, Doctor. I don't care who you are. The Time Lord Victorious is wrong.
That's for me to decide.
When Adelaide goes into her home, she commits suicide, feeling it's the only way she can restore the timeline. The episode juggles a lot of moral issues. The fictional circumstance could be compared to non-fictional events like 9/11 and the Holocaust, occurrences that, although devastating, allowed society to progress the way it has. The amount of power the Doctor has is worrying, especially with the knowledge that even an individual as intelligent as him can make illogical decisions like this. John Lennon is widely praised as one of the most influential songwriters in history. His work with the Beatles and his solo career have revolutionized music. He advocated peace, protested the Vietnam War, supported African American rights, and took an interest in feminism. His iconic song, Imagine, envisions a world of peace and unity. There's nothing to be said about the song that hasn't been stated already. It's beautifully written, ahead of its time, and has lyrics that critique religion at a time where it was incredibly controversial to do so. However, it's this song that has created an oversimplified narrative of Lennon's character. He may have presented himself as this peace-loving, progressive activist, but the reality was unfortunately far more complex than that. Lennon was physically abusive towards his first wife and son, later abandoning them both to marry his second wife, Yoko Ono.
One night we were at a party, and John went mad when someone told him Stuart and I were dancing together. As soon as I saw the look on John's face, we stopped, and, as so often before, I reassured him that it was him I loved. He seemed to accept it. But the next day at college he followed me to the girls' loos in the basement. When I came out, he was waiting, with a dark look on his face. Before I could speak, he raised his arm and hit me across the face, knocking my head into the pipes that ran down the wall behind me. Without a word, he walked away, leaving me dazed, shaky, and with a very sore head.
I mean, I appreciated the man's music very much. I think he and the rest of the guys in the Beatles were phenomenal. But as a father, I don't have much respect for it at all.
Imagine, along with much of his other work, creates an incomplete portrayal of Lennon. The art can of course be separated from the artist, but in the case of Lennon, he was able to use his position of power to hide his faults that should be held accountable for. Power is a multifaceted concept explored within fictional and non-fictional media. The aforementioned texts, though diverse, share common themes. The psychology behind power's impact remains largely consistent. It's intriguing yet unsettling how it can often change an individual for the worse, acting as justification of their flaws.